everyone. You ready to dive into something kind of wild?
Wild good, I hope.
Oh, definitely wild good.
I like those.
So we're tackling this whole idea of living in the fifth dimension.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm really excited about this one because it's based on this excerpt. It's called Five Life-Changing Stages of Spiritual Awakening. Which one are you in? And it talks about some pretty mind-blowing stuff.
Like what?
Like, think not caring so much about material possessions, time feeling totally different, even your intuition getting super strong.
Intriguing.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if any of this rings true for you guys listening.
Yeah, me too.
One thing that really jumped out at me is how the source, like right away, it compares the fifth dimension to like everyday reality, what they call the third dimension.
I see, yeah.
So it's all about the physical stuff, the things we can see and touch and, time moving in a straight line, past, present, future.
Right, yeah, so like clockwork.
Yeah, but the fifth dimension, this is where it gets interesting. It's supposed to be beyond all those limitations.
Oh.
So before we go too far down the rabbit hole, how does the source actually define this fifth dimension?
Because it is one of those phrases, you hear it everywhere.
Exactly.
It's kind of a buzzword.
It is, yeah.
So, they talk about this thing called unity consciousness.
Unity consciousness.
Yeah, so basically it's like the lines between you and everything else kind of just dissolve.
Dissolved, okay.
It's not about separate people anymore. It's more like this feeling of being interconnected, like we're all part of this like big energy field.
Whoa, okay. I'm already feeling a little mind-bendy.
It is a big concept.
So if someone's like tapping into this fifth dimension energy, how would they even know? Are there like signs?
Well, the source, they list a few really interesting possibilities. One is that your intuition gets stronger.
Okay, so not just like a hunch.
No, they describe it as a really clear, powerful guide. And along with that, they say that you start noticing more synchronicities.
Yeah.
Those meaningful coincidences.
Yeah.
Where it feels like the universe is trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
Like, hey, pay attention.
I've definitely had those moments where it's like, whoa, what are the chances?
Yeah, exactly.
But how does that connect to this fifth dimension thing?
Well, it suggests that when you're in this state of like heightened awareness, you're more in tune with the energy and information that's all around us.
Okay.
So things aren't just randomly happening. There's like a deeper purpose, like there's a meaning unfolding.
Okay, so it's not just luck. It's about being like in sync with something bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
The source also talks about this idea of being less attached to material things. And this is something I was really curious about, like what does that actually look like?
Well, they're not saying you got to get rid of all your stuff and go live in a cave or anything.
Okay, good, because I like my stuff.
Yeah, it's more about a shift in values.
Okay.
So instead of feeling like your worth comes from what you own, you start realizing that real fulfillment, like true fulfillment, comes from within.
I see. So your focus shifts from getting more stuff to like, I don't know, experiences and relationships and growing as a person.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like that's saying you can't take it with you, right?
Right.
Maybe in the fifth dimension, it's more about who you become, not what you collect.
I like that. But what about time? Because the source mentions experiencing time differently too. Does that mean we're suddenly like time travelers?
Time travels? No, not quite. It's more about a shift in how you perceive time.
Okay.
So instead of being bound by this linear time, past, present, future, there's this sense of fluidity, like everything's happening at once.
Fluidity, okay.
But give this example, it's like when you're totally absorbed in something you enjoy, and hours just fly by, like minutes.
Oh, yeah. Like when I'm writing, I can completely lose track of time.
Exactly.
It's like entering a flow state. Is that what they're getting at?
Yeah, it's about being fully present in the moment without the usual constraints of the clock.
Okay, yeah.
It ties into that idea of the eternal present moment.
Yeah.
That idea that comes up a lot in spiritual traditions.
Okay, yeah.
So our usual way of thinking about time, it might be more limited than we realize.
Interesting. Okay, this is getting really fascinating. The source also hints that even our physical sensations, like how our body feels, can change as we align with the fifth dimension.
Yeah, it's like our bodies are catching up to our minds.
So what kind of changes are we talking about here?
Well, some people say they feel lighter, almost like they're walking on air.
What? What?
Yeah, and it's not that they've lost weight or anything. It's more like a shift in their energy field.
Yeah.
Like there's this sense of buoyancy.
I'm trying to picture walking down the street and feeling like I'm floating.
It's a very freeing feeling.
Okay, but wait, there's more, right?
Oh, yeah.
The source mentions changes in other senses, too.
Yeah, some people say colors seem more vibrant, sounds are clearer,
Yeah.
even tastes are more intense.
So it's like your senses are all heightened.
Yeah, like your whole sensory system is waking up to this higher level of perception.
It's like becoming superhuman or something.
It's pretty amazing.
I'm almost afraid to ask, but does the source mention anything else that might change?
Oh, there's one more thing. It might surprise you.
Okay, hit me.
They say that even your food preferences can shift as you evolve spiritually.
What? Like what you like to eat changes?
Yeah, it's like your body intuitively knows what it needs to thrive on a deeper level.
Okay, so now I'm really curious. Let's get into the nitty-gritty here. What does it actually look like to cultivate this fifth dimension experience? Where do we even begin?
Well, a big thing the source emphasizes is this idea of inner peace
Okay.
and being emotionally resilient.
So not necessarily about avoiding challenges. It's more about how we handle them when they come up.
Yeah, exactly. They talk about responding instead of reacting.
Ooh, I like that.
It's like something happens and there's that space between
Yeah.
what happens and you just doing the thing you always do.
Right, our knee-jerk reaction.
Exactly. And instead, there's this pause where you can choose a
Uh-huh.
more mindful, intentional way to respond.
That's so hard, though.
It is.
Like when someone cuts you off in traffic, how do you just not...
It's a practice,
Yeah,
not perfection.
okay.
And the source does mention things like meditation,
Okay.
mindfulness,
Mm.
all those kinds of tools
Right.
help build up that resilience muscle.
So the more we train our minds to find that calm, the easier it is to access it
Yeah, exactly.
when things get a little crazy.
Yep.
But speaking of like joy and all that,
Mm.
the source also connects this fifth dimension living with a deeper sense of purpose and more joy. Are those really connected?
That's what they suggest. Yeah,
Yeah.
your life's purpose, it becomes clearer. And you're driven by passion, not just external pressures or, what you should be doing.
So it's not just about finding a job you like.
Right.
It's about aligning your actions with what really lights you up.
Exactly. They have this great phrase,
What is it?
finding the sweet spot where your passions and your contribution to the world intersect.
Ooh, I like that.
Like, what unique gifts do you have that the world needs?
Okay, I'm going to be thinking about that one for a while.
Me too.
There's one more thing from the source that I thought was really interesting. It's that feeling of oneness with nature,
Oh, yeah.
but it's like on a whole other level.
It is. It's more than just appreciating a pretty sunset.
Right.
It's about feeling deeply connected to the natural world.
Yeah.
Like you're part of this web of life.
Yeah.
They describe it as moving beyond this illusion of separation,
Okay.
realizing we are the planet, not just living on it.
Wow, that gives me chills.
It's powerful.
It's like when you're in the forest and you can almost feel the energy of the trees.
Yeah.
Or gaze at the stars and feel this vastness that's both humbling and awe-inspiring.
Exactly. And that brings us to the how-to part of the source.
Okay.
How do we actually live this way?
Right, because this all sounds amazing.
It does.
But how do we make it real?
Well, they highlight those higher consciousness practices that we talked about earlier.
Okay.
Meditation, mindfulness,
Mm-hmm.
spending time in nature, things that quiet the mental chatter.
Right, just create some space.
Yeah, and allow those deeper insights to kind of bubble up.
So it's about connecting with that inner wisdom that might be getting drowned out by everything else.
Exactly. But it's not just about being still. They also emphasize creative expression
Hold
as a
on.
way to channel this energy.
So not just art in the traditional sense.
Right. It's about expressing your authentic self in everything you do.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So cooking a meal with love, solving a problem in a unique way,
Mm.
even having a heartfelt conversation.
So those can all be acts of creative expression.
Absolutely. The source suggests that in this fifth dimension, creativity, it becomes a way of life,
Wow.
a natural flow of energy and inspiration guiding your actions.
Okay, I can see how all these pieces start to fit together.
Yeah.
And speaking of authenticity, that's another big theme the source touches on. What's their take on that?
They talk about aligning your thoughts, words, and actions, shedding those masks we wear to please others or fit in, and having the courage to be our true selves.
That can be scary, though.
It can be.
What if people reject us when we show our true colors?
They acknowledge that, yeah, it takes inner strength,
Right.
resilience, but the rewards are huge.
Okay.
When you're grounded in your true self, You're less dependent on needing other people to validate you,
Hmm.
and you're more likely to attract people who resonate with your authentic energy.
So it's about quality over quantity when it comes to relationships,
Yeah,
surrounding yourself with people who support your growth,
exactly.
celebrate your uniqueness. But how does that tie into this fifth dimension idea?
They suggest the fifth dimension living naturally leads to more meaningful connections, a deeper sense of community.
So it's not just about personal enlightenment.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected,
Mhm.
supporting each other's journeys.
Exactly.
So as we raise our own vibration,
Yeah.
we contribute to the collective evolution of
It's like
consciousness.
a ripple effect,
It is. Yeah.
spreading outward.
Okay, so now that we've talked about all these different
Right.
aspects,
Intuition, detachment from materialism,
fluid time, deeper connection with nature,
authentic relationships, creative expression.
living in alignment with our purpose,
It's a lot.
it's a lot to wrap our heads around.
Yeah. How do we actually integrate all of this into our everyday lives? Well, the good news is the source doesn't just throw all these big ideas at us and then say, good luck figuring it out.
Right, because that's what I was thinking. How do we actually put this into practice?
Yeah. They offer some really practical advice. Like they ask this question: could consciously adopting even one of the practices or perspectives we talked about, whether it's deepening your connection with nature or embracing creative expression or prioritizing authenticity, could that lead to a more fulfilling experience regardless of whether you believe in the fifth dimension?
I love that. It takes the pressure off, you know? You don't have to fully buy into the whole fifth dimension concept right away. Just try on these ideas and see what happens.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that even if you're skeptical about the label, the qualities associated with it,
Mm.
like peace and joy and connection and purpose and creativity, those are all good things.
Yeah, those are things we all want more of.
Exactly.
So it becomes less about dogma and more about experimentation.
I like that experimentation.
Okay, but let's say someone's listening and they're intrigued, but they're like, okay, where do I even start?
Well, the source highlights those higher consciousness practices we were talking about, like meditation. Even just a few minutes each day can make a huge difference.
Makes sense.
Or spending time in nature. That's a great way to connect with that feeling of oneness.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of creative expression.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It can be anything: cooking, gardening, writing.
It's just about tapping into that flow, right?
Exactly.
So it's about making conscious choices, even small ones, that align with those fifth dimension qualities. It's like
Okay.
training our minds to perceive reality differently.
You got it. And the more we practice, the more natural it becomes, like building a muscle.
I love that analogy.
It really is like a workout for your consciousness.
Okay, so this has been such a fascinating deep dive. I know I have a lot to think about. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself. Be open to new experiences. And most importantly, have fun with it.
Embrace the mystery.
Exactly.
Well, listeners, that's our exploration of the fifth dimension for today. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little mind-bending. Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep evolving.